The world is a dark place. Even if there was any bit of light in anything, somewhere inside, there is definitely a deep, terrible darkness that exists. Iijima! You better finish that work within today! Yes, sir. I, Satoru Iijima, was fooled by that little bit of light by this company, and I'm working in a completely dark advertising agency at 25 years old. I'm not the only one that knows how deeply dark this company is. Looks like I'm about to have another all-nighter. I'm definitely going to a place with cute girls this Saturday to blow off steam. I think I might quit. As usual, everybody is in high spirits at the office. I'm going to the meeting now. And yet, regardless of all of the paperwork and the tasks that are piled up on top of my desk, my schedule's completely packed tight. So, well... See ya! Bye! My colleagues sent me off, but in order to maintain my seat at the table, I was off to a business meeting. That being said, it seemed like it wasn't just the slaves of our company that knew about the darkness of the world.
I'm terribly sorry for being this late.
The person that appeared in the room was a beautiful woman that looked good in her casual clothing. Today's business meeting was with Miss Yukari Kudo, who is a young female CEO. I've been doing business with Miss Kudo before she started her own business, and 2 years have already gone by. Even though it was a business meeting, she would always heal my exhausted heart. But this is rare. You don't seem to be very well today.
I'm very sorry to show you such an unsightly appearance.
Oh no, that's not the case at all, but I was just worried. Just by looking at her, I could immediately see her exhaustion. It looked pretty bad. Have any of your employees said anything to you? You look like it would be best for you to rest today. It's not like today's meeting needed to happen right now, so we could always reschedule to a different day. If we have this meeting while she's not feeling well, her health might only get worse.
No, really, it's fine. It's not that I'm not feeling well, it's just that... Recently, I've been a victim of a stalker, and...
She seemed to struggle to get it out, but slowly, the words that came out of her were shockingly about a stalker. Really?
Yes, and that's why I haven't been able to sleep at night. I tried going to the police, but they wouldn't even take me seriously, so...
There was no denying that Miss Kudo was beautiful. It wouldn't be surprising if she was the victim of a stalker. However, without any physical evidence, the police wouldn't do anything about it. But Miss Kudo was sure about it, and she must have been so worried that she couldn't sleep at night.
Please forget everything I just said. Well then, let's begin the meeting.
I didn't want to overstep and cause her any extra stress. That's why I pretended not to worry too much and began the meeting. I'm exhausted. Today was another long day of long overtime. The streets had gone completely dark as I made my way home. The one thing I was thankful for was that there were still trains running. Without that, I would have to sleep over at the office. But still, Miss Kudo, I'm a little worried. She said that she was the victim of a stalker. There must be something that can be done. Is that Miss Kudo? This was rare, to see her in a place like this. Maybe she was working overtime, or leaving after work drinks. Either way, maybe I should try talking to her. There's also the stalker, so it's dangerous for her to be walking at night alone. And then, this time, I happened to spot a different person. This guy was radiating a suspicious aura, and even though he was hiding in the shadows, he started walking behind Miss Kudo. And then, on top of that, he pulled out a camera and... No, that's definitely not okay! That's complete voyeurism! Besides, why are you following so closely behind this woman? The moment I spoke to him, the man was shocked and tried to run away. That's why I panicked and grabbed the man's arm. No! Wait a minute! It was at that moment,
Mr. Ijima?
while we were scuffling, Miss Kudo, who was walking, noticed our presence, and she came running over. When he saw that, the man that I grabbed widened his eyes.
Miss Kudo, from the moment I first laid eyes on you, I loved you.
At the sudden animalistic eyes, Miss Kudo let out a terrified scream. I also panicked, and as the guy was trying to crawl closer to her, I desperately held him down. Miss Kudo, the police!
Yes.
I didn't really know what to do, but I couldn't just leave the situation as was. That's why I asked Miss Kudo to please call the police straight away. In the end, that man from that day was indeed Miss Kudo's stalker. The deciding factor was the hordes of photographs of Miss Kudo that were in his house. After that, Miss Kudo said she didn't feel anybody following her, and that she's been able to be more comfortable every day. That's what she said. But as for me, however, I didn't think I would get fired. 1 week later, I lost my job. What the hell? Downsizing, huh? I was living a dark life at a company and slaving away, and yet this is the reward I get? Normally after you do a good thing, aren't you supposed to be rewarded, and then you're supposed to find happiness? What am I going to do now? Because it was the darkest of dark, my salary was also low, and I barely had any savings. I was pretty worried whether I would even be able to pay my rent next month or not. Anyways, I guess I should find a job. Right at that moment, my cell phone rang. Who could it be? Anyways, I guess I should answer the phone.
Mr. Ijima!
Then to my surprise, on the other end of the phone was Kudo, whom I hadn't spoken to in a while. How can I help you?
I heard that you were fired.
Whoa there, that's a little embarrassing. Yeah, that's actually what happened.
Even though you were working that hard, even for us, thanks to you, our project was moving along really well.
It's an honor to hear you say that. Even though I'll probably have no relation to her anymore, I guess I should at least pray that the project we were working on together would move in a positive direction.
Anyway, please come to the restaurant that I'm about to send to you later. Cheers!
Cheers? And so then, that night, I was in the private room of a pub that she instructed me to go to, and for some reason, we were clinking glasses. Why did you invite me here today?
On that day, I wasn't able to thank you properly.
Well, I'm sure you were really busy with your work for a while, and besides, there's no need for any thanks to begin with. She was finally able to relax and live her life. There's no way I was even thinking about being thanked. Either way, it was just a coincidence. I was there anyway.
And also, I wanted to ask you what you were going to do next, Mr. Ijima.
What I'm gonna do next? Well, I guess I'll try to find some random job. Maybe this was an opportunity for me to try my hand at a completely different industry. And also, something that was going to let me pay rent and help me survive right away.
I see.
After muttering something under her breath, Miss Kudo drank her pitcher in one gulp.
Hey, Mr. Ijima.
Yes? It looked like she was trying to build the confidence to say something. And that's also why I froze on the spot.
There's this one job that I would like to introduce you.
And her suggestion was something that I couldn't have even dreamt of in my wildest dreams. Or so I thought, but I didn't expect that I was going to be a live-in housemate. So that's why she had me cancel my apartment contract and make me carry all of my belongings here. An easy job that wouldn't cost me rent or food expenses or any gas, water, or electricity bills. I was so drawn to that catchphrase that it was too late for me to have any regret. Not only that, but...
I'm really sorry. It's such a messy room.
the place that I would be the housemaid was going to be Miss Kudo's house. No, I don't mind at all, but are you sure you're okay with this?
Wait, are you dissatisfied by any of the conditions?
The working conditions are more amazing than anything I've ever had. Accommodation and food are all included. All I have to do is the chores, and every month, I would get $2,000 net. I would have to pay for health insurance and social security on my own, but even with that aside, it was more than enough. It was almost like freeloading. But also, because it's so amazing, I'm worried if you're really okay with it.
This isn't something to be proud of, but I'm just so bad at doing the chores.
I could tell just by looking around.
If you're worried about the money, then it's fine. I may not look at it, but I am earning a lot of money.
Wow, she's young, but she is a female CEO after all. However,
Plus, if and when you run into any trouble, I want to lend my hand to you.
at the kindness of her words, I froze. Even though I've known her for a while now, this was without a doubt guilt about the stalker incident. Yes, but you're going to be alone with me, you know.
That's totally fine.
She must really, really not think of me as a man. Or at least not a dangerous man.
Well then, I need to get back to work pretty soon, so...
It had only been a few minutes since we had gotten into the apartment, but apparently, Miss Kudo was going to work. Well, I would also need to unpack, so I guess there's no problem with that, but I'm still a bit lost, but see you later.
Yeah.
Is something wrong? I'm pretty sure all I said was see you later.
Nothing. I was just kind of happy.
Well, I guess when you live alone, it's not a word that you hear often at home. I can understand the happiness of hearing it for the first time in a while.
We're almost like newlyweds.
I could understand that, but those words that she said in the end, I couldn't hear clearly.
I'm home.
And then, late at night, around the time when the day of the calendar was about to change, Miss Kudo came home. To begin with, I rushed over to welcome her in. Welcome home!
Oh, I didn't know you were awake.
Of course, there was no way that I could just leave my hirer and go to sleep first. Plus, I wanted to welcome you home, Miss Kudo.
Huh? Is that so?
Once again, her face flushed red. Shoot, did I just say something embarrassing? Miss Kudo, have you had dinner yet?
No, I was thinking about making something now.
Well, that's perfect. Well then, I've already prepared dinner for you, so please, eat.
What? What do you mean you made dinner?
Wait, isn't that what you hired me for? Otherwise, I'm just freeloading.
You could have just relaxed at home, though.
Whoa, you're really trying to make me a true freeloader.
Everything looks delicious.
I did make everything a few hours ago, though, but it did make me happy to see her eyes sparkle so much. I felt a reward for watching all of those videos and doing my best to cook.
Are you sure I can eat this?
Of course. That was the whole reason why I made it. So if anything, I want her to eat it.
It's delicious.
Because I was working in such a deep, dark environment, I never had the opportunity to actually cook. So to hear her say that, I was relieved.
I don't really need much at home, so... this feels new.
Eating at home, as opposed to eating out all the time, makes a pretty big difference. Then, at that moment, Miss Kudo looked like she was really enjoying the meal. But then suddenly, I felt her eyes staring right at me. What's the matter?
Mr. Ijima, you're always speaking so formally.
Well, even though we are similar ages, this was a CEO, and also the person who hired me after all, so I can't be too casual.
This is a direct order. No more formalities.
Whoa, using her privilege as my hirer. However, but you've also been formal with me, Kudo.
I'm fine. I've always spoken like this anyway.
How's that fair?
First of all, even though we're about to be living together from now on, if you're so stiff, you're going to get tired, you know?
Well, she wasn't wrong about that, but I guess since the person who hired me is saying that, I'll fix it.
Yes, please do so.
Kudo had a happy smile glow across her face. Is that how badly she wanted me to be less formal? But still, to be living together with a beautiful woman still made me nervous, in all kinds of ways. I wasn't able to sleep much, and normally I would never be awake at this time, but I was wide awake at 5 in the morning, and I started to prepare for breakfast by myself. That reminds me, does she prefer bread or rice in the morning? Easy bread that would be quick to eat, or rice in Japanese fashion? Well, I can just prepare both of them, and I'll eat whatever's left over.
Oh, good morning.
The living room doors opened, and there was Kudo in a thin set of pajamas. She had a lot of skin showing, and she was defenseless given that she had just woke up. Without thinking, my heart skipped a beat.
You're up early, Mr. Ichima.
No, but I think you're also up early.
I was a little too nervous and couldn't sleep well.
I didn't think it would be for the same reason. I didn't think that you would be the type to get nervous.
What is that supposed to mean?
Kudo puffed up her cheeks. Oh no, it's so cute. Well, this might just be my own assumption, but I figured you must be popular with the guys. So I thought that you had already lived together with a guy before. She's not only beautiful, but she has a good personality and is currently a CEO. There's no way she wasn't popular. And I was sure she had plenty of experiences like that. Unlike me.
That's an assumption, Mr. Ichima. Because you're the first man that I've ever lived with.
I see. That was unexpected. Really unexpected. Wait a minute. Maybe Kudo doesn't have that much interest in romantic relationships.
You're the only one.
I don't think any man in the world wouldn't have skipped a heartbeat when she said that. After that, the days went on, and a month had flown by. After a month of being in the situation, I'd gotten used to it, and the nervousness that I had in the beginning was also gone. This house is my house. That was how comfortable I felt being there. After the sun had set, after finishing up all the cleaning, I was sitting alone on the sofa on my phone, and then...
Mr. Ichima,
I heard a voice right behind my shoulder.
what are you doing?
I've even gotten used to this rough appearance of hers. I'm almost impressed that I was able to maintain my logic living with someone this beautiful. That being said, well, I was just looking at an employment site.
An employment site?
I didn't think that I could just be relying on you forever. So, all I'm doing is the chores around the house, and I'm receiving accommodation and food, and even a salary. I'm sure it was only troublesome for a girl to constantly be supporting me like this. In order to maintain my pride as a man, I should hurry up and get back on my own feet. That being said, I'm not really finding any good job listings either.
But you can work here forever, you know?
No, that's too much.
If anything, I don't mind if you do nothing at all.
That would make me 100% a freeloader.
I am really grateful to you, Mr. Ichima.
I'm sure that was about the incident with the stalker. However, you've already been way too good for me. If anything, more than enough.
That's not true at all. I was saved by you that day, Mr. Ichima. To you, it may not be much. But to me, it was a really, really, really big deal.
Her eyes were pointed directly at me, full of seriousness and passion. On the receiving end of that, I was made to understand just how important my actions were to her that day.
Really, when I had that stalker, every single day I was so uneasy and uncomfortable. I couldn't even get around to my work, and I was too scared to come home. Even when I was home, I was scared. If I wasn't talking to someone constantly, in the back of my mind I kept imagining the worst scenario. That's why what you did for me, Mr. Ijima, really was that big of a deal. That's why this is definitely not enough to thank you for that.
But it's not like I did it because I wanted to be thanked. And besides, it was a pure coincidence. If I didn't happen to be there that day, then I wouldn't have been able to do anything.
Even now, even though you were just a former client at a partner company, I can see this now. But do you have any idea how excited I was for my meetings with you every time?
What? Those words were so unexpected that a confused voice fell out of me.
And that's why I thought, if I were to be with you, it must be fun. If it was this person, I would want to be with you.
A soft pink glow brushed onto her cheeks. Just looking at that made my heart beat faster.
That's what I thought. That's why I don't want you to leave, Mr. Ijima. If you're worried about the money, in that case then.
Little by little, Kudo turned to face me and pointed her finger at me.
How about you just get a part-time job in the afternoon? How does that sound?
When I saw this, I couldn't help but laugh.
Or you could try working at my company, or you can work remotely.
Hey, you're getting too serious.
But I can't help it, can I? Because I don't know what I'm supposed to do in times like this.
I started to think that she really didn't have much experience with guys before. However, I couldn't help but find that so adorable and so lovable that it made me laugh. Listen, if it would be okay with you, then would you let me work at your company? Of course, my salary can be low, and I'm going to put my all into it so that I can be of use to your company.
For me, that would be a dream come true, but are you sure you're okay with that?
If I'm going to work anyway, I want to be useful to you, even if it's only a little bit.
Huh?
And plus, if I do that, then you'll let me work here again, right? If we work together, then we would also be able to have more flexibility. In this case, we shouldn't have to be too hesitant around each other, and we should be able to live together. Oh, but I'm definitely going to pay rent, okay? If anything, you can just take it out of my salary.
Are you sure you're okay with that?
With what?
Continuing this lifestyle.
Well, there may be some problems, like a man's pride and other logistical things. But if I can, I'd like to continue this lifestyle too. I didn't want to be a freeloader. However, there was no doubt that this life with Kudo was really fun. Because if that wasn't the case, there is no way that I would have been able to last a month like this. Oh, but other than the laundry, I'm going to be doing all the chores, okay?
I can also do them too, though.
No, there's no way that I'm going to let the person who hired me do that. As we continued this conversation, our laughs filled the room. By that time, I was no longer on the employment website. And then, another month later, I was able to successfully start my new job. If you'll excuse me first.
Great job today.
Not only that, but a completely bright workplace without a shadow of darkness around. It was a place that made me realize just how terrible my previous employment was.
Oh, the CEO was asking for you earlier, Mr. Ijima.
Oh, really? Thank you for letting me know. I wonder what it could be. I guess I should just go to the usual spot first.
Mr. Ijima, he's so nice and a good person, and he's good looking.
Hey, did you know? Actually, Mr. Ijima and the CEO.
Oh, Satoru.
When I hurried to the usual spot, she hurried over in a little jog. Even though we were about to get in the car, she still tries to come closer, and it was the cutest thing in the world. You know, you don't need to wait for me every single time in a place like this, Miss Kudo.
I'm not Miss Kudo anymore, am I?
Yeah, you're right. Work is already over, Yukari. Ever since then, we haven't stopped living together. Now we live in the same room, and we eat our meals together, and sometimes, one of us welcomes the other home. On that day, ever since I saved her from the stalker, my entire world changed.
What are you going to make today?
However, whether our relationship changed or not, I'll leave that to your imagination.